Well, hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, one and only AR Legends. And yeah, guys, today I am back with another series for you guys, which is going to be what if Naruto was neglected by his family and was Broly's reincarnation? So, yeah, guys, hopefully, guys will enjoy this series. And as for the next part, the like goal is gonna be 200 likes and 80 comments. Do that, and I shall upload the next part as soon as possible. Hopefully, it will be today. So, yeah, guys, before starting this video, I would like to make a request to all of you guys who are watching this video. If you guys are new to the channel or if you guys have not subscribed yet, please guys do so. It would be really appreciated. And yeah guys, I have also put the link of my Instagram as well as the link of my other Naruto channels within the description below. So please follow me on Instagram and subscribe on other channels as well. So yeah guys, without wasting any more of your time, let us start the video. And yeah, guys, I would like to tell you that in this series, Naruto is going to be the reincarnation of Broly from Dragon Ball Z movies. So yeah, guys, that is something I wanted to clear. So let us start the video. As Minato was looking towards his two children, Menma and Naruko, with a happy smile on his face. Both of them had really made a lot of progress, and both of them will make him proud one day, as he had a smile on his face. After all, his children were now 6 years old. As he looked towards his wife Kushina, who also had a smile on her face but also had small sadness present in her eyes, as Minato completely understood it. He completely remembered that day which happened almost 2 years ago, what happened to their oldest child. Even thinking about it sent shivers through his spine, and what they had to do. After all, he was the Hokage. As he looked towards his wife, who was trying to hold back her emotions, as Minato sighed and decided to, you can say, walk away. As he arrived to the kitchen and decided to get some food. After all, it was time to give him some food. After all, as he started to walk down to the pathways, hundreds of seals could be seen around the walls that were present there. Even the seals that were engaged, you can say, putting the nine tails away, was not as powerful as the seals that were present here. To the underground base which was present beneath the Namakase mentioned, as Minato finally arrived, as he bit his finger and let his blood to be sprayed upon some seals, as the seals started to make pathway. As Minato walked inside, chains could be seen in which hundreds of seals were present, and in the center of the whole area a single figure could be seen tied down with chains and hundreds of seals on it, as Minato had sadness in his eyes but determination at the same time. After all, he was the Hokage and sacrifices has to be made for the good of Konoha. That was something he had told to himself and to his wife when he had to imprison him here, as he looked down towards the form of a 6-year-old child who was none other than Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, the oldest son of Minato. As suddenly the figure started to move as he looked directly into the eyes of Minato. Green eyes could be seen in the figure as Naruto Uzumaki looked towards his so-called father, as Minato decided to hide his emotion and decided to feed his son, even though at this point no one was allowed to talk about him. As Minato sighed, he still remembered the day when it all came down crashing. At the day of the, you can say, the birth of his triplets, the Nine-Tail was broken loose from his seal and he had to fight off against the QB. But what happened afterward was something which scared him to his very bone. He was ready to seal off the QB inside of his children. Menma and Ruko will get the yin and yang half of the QB, and the soul will forever be imprisoned in his eldest son. So he decided he was about to, you can say, seal off the QB with his most powerful seal, but suddenly the QB was loosened by Kushina and it was about to attack them, and then that happened. Naruto started to cry and the sky started to get dark and thunder could be seen all around Konoha, and the power he felt, it was so enormous. Even the QB stopped in his track with the power that was being radiated from his eldest child as he started to cry and float into the air as energy started to gather around him. A blast of energy slammed into the QB, which literally blasted him so far away with such energy that even the QB no Yoko, one part of his face was blown off as it was unconscious there. Minato simply could not understand it. What happened? Thankfully, his son could calm down afterward as he was able to grab him. And that saved him from using the Reaper Dead seal, and the other seals were used since the QB was unconscious. But he thought that it must be something you can say a new kind of bloodline or something like that. He was trying to convince himself, but the power he has sensed there, it was something really, really different and dangerous at the same time. He did not knew what it was, but it was dangerous, that was for sure. And afterward, his sensei came flashback as Jiraiya was standing in front of Minato. Minato, you have to understand. The great elder toad sage has spoken. One of your children will bring destruction to the world, and it has to be Naruto. You have seen that what that kid could do. For God's sake, he had defeated Kyubi no Yoko in one attack, and he is just a newborn. Just think what he will do when he will grow up. I'm telling you, Minato, that child is dangerous. As Minato glared towards him, as Kushina grabbed Jiraiya, what are you saying to us, Jiraiya, that we should get rid of him? He's our son. As Jiraiya looked towards Minato and Kushina, Minato, you're the Hokage. Sacrifices has to be made. You have to take responsibility. As Minato gritted his teeth, he's just a child, sensei, and I have seen that power. With enough training, he should be able to utilize that power. If he is dangerous, then which means that Menma and Ruko are dangerous as well. As Jiraiya gritted his teeth, why? Why did his student not understand that it was a danger to all of them? But he simply shook his head. Alright, Minato, but keep an eye on him, and if necessary, prepare the seals to, you can say, shut down his power temporarily. As Minato agreed to that, as he has told the council that he has used a forbidden technique to knock down QB, and afterward he was able to seal it off, as the council decided to, you can say, not push the matter, even though some of the people were still suspicious, but they were scared of Minato if he was able to defeat QB and destroy one part of his face like it was nothing. Then Minato was even stronger than they previously thought, and the other nations were also scared by Minato. At least they will not have to worry about the other villages. But Minato simply shook his head. He agreed to his sensei and decided to, you can say, prepare a similar seal to, you can say, suppress Naruto's dangerous chakra if required. But all the things started to get normal. For the first 4 years of Naruto's life, the things were getting normal. As he was a normal child, Minato had decided to seal off Kyubi in, you can say, Menma and Ruko, and not decided to steal the soul inside of Naruto. After all, he was already, you can say, powerful enough as Minato believed. But a part of him was scared. He still remembered the feeling, the oppressing aura, and the immense energy that Naruto radiated at the time of his birth. So he was, you can say, a part of him was scared of him. And then that day come when his children at the age of 4 were simply walking around the village. It was the day of the QB defeat. Some villagers who were drunk decided to target Menma and Ruko, and somehow the rumors had started to spread that how Naruto had the soul of the QB inside of him. So they decided to corner them, as some of the Ambu which were there to guard them were also, you can say, angry at them. So they decided to have them, you can say, a bit of threaten and to put the demon brats in their place. That was the worst mistake of their lives. Flashback as Naruto has some, you can say, candy in his hand as he was looking towards his two siblings who were chattering among each other, as Naruto noticed that they were going in the wrong direction. For some reason, Menma and Ruko were insisting that this was the way to their home, as Naruto was still confused. Unknown to him, both Menma and Ruko were in a minor genjutsu, showing that how this was the way to their mansion. And just like that, Naruto's eyes narrowed when 6 chakra signatures appeared out of nowhere and surrounded them, as these were none other than shinobis. As suddenly he could hear some of the, you can say, shouting from one place. It seemed that they were getting surrounded as Naruto put himself in front of Menma and Naruto, who were now scared, wondering what was going on here. As one of the shinobi scoffed, so the demon had decided to protect its chakra. We already know that. You are the QB, and the only reason you are with those other brats is to get your chakra back. Well, guess what, demon? We are not gonna let you have your power back. We will kill all of you. And I know that Hokage Sama will understand it one day. At that, he brought out his kunai as the civilians also arrive. As Naruto looked towards them, his anger for some reason started to boil as it was turning into fury. As one of the Jonin stepped forward, alright, demon, time to pay, as he rushed towards Naruto. As Naruto's eyes widened when he threw kunai towards Menma and Naruto, as Naruto vanished within a blur of speed. Even he did not knew where that power came from, as he grabbed the kunai and just like that crushed them into literal powder. As Naruto looked towards them, anger, which has turned into fury, his aura started to spike. Sky started to get darkened as the thunder once again was shining in the sky. As Minato, who was doing some paperwork ready to join the festival, suddenly his eyes widened when he felt that power. As Naruto looked towards the civilians who were shouting for the heads of the demons and the shinobis who were there to beat them, his anger was rising. He did not knew what was going on here, as he did not even remember when his eyes literally turned into white. And just like that, his aura exploded. He opened his mouth as a beam of green energy exploded from it. The shinobis didn't even had the time to process what was going on here. And just like that, all the civilians and the shinobis that were present there ready to beat them all up were literally turned into ash, as a large part of the forest was turned into ash. Nothing was left behind. As Naruto let out a roar, his aura was growing stronger and stronger by the second. And but before anything could happen, Minato teleported there with a seal in his hand as he put it on the head of Naruto. But to his surprise, the seal was being burnt off. But he was able to push his chakra into it to activate it and use some other seals at the same time to suppress Naruto. It was barely he was able to do it, but barely, as he looked towards the seals which were already burning off. But thankfully, Naruto was unconscious. Minato did not knew that if it was his body which was unable to handle his power or was it the seal, but he did not want it to know at this point. He looked towards the destruction that was being caused by that energy blast of Naruto. He did not understand what was going on here, but as the Hokage, he has to make a decision, and a decision he has to make really early. As he looked towards his children who were scared and almost on the verge of unconsciousness, as he grabbed his children and teleported into the Hokage office. After some time, he was able to get the information out of Menma and Ruko, who explained that how they were coming home and they were surrounded by those people calling them demons and try to attack them, and how Naruto saved them. As Minato sighed at it, after all, there were still people who blamed Menma and Ruko for everything, and some of them even were blaming Naruto, saying that how he had the soul, even though he did not knew where those rumors were started even to begin with. But he simply shook his head at it. After some time, a council meeting was held at which Minato had to explain Naruto's unknown origin and unknown, you can say, Kekkei, which many people still believe. Some people wanted to use him as a weapon, but after they realized that there was no way to control him, as Minato showed his seal, which was able to suppress even a Biju and a rampaging Jinchuriki, but it was completely burnt off, as Minato still believed that how it was actually Naruto's own body which was unable to handle all that surge of power. That was the reason he was unconscious. Otherwise, he believed that his seals were not powerful enough to suppress Naruto. At this, they had to come to a decision, as Minato had to, you can say, lock up Naruto until the day he deemed it to be, you can say, safe for him and for everyone that was around him. Flashback ends as Minato looked down towards Naruto, whose eyes were now looking towards him, whose eyes has completely turned green for some reason Minato did not understand. As he sighed, "How are you, my son?" As he said it with a trembling voice a little bit, as Naruto did not say anything, as Minato sighed and decided to feed him nonetheless. After all, he was his son, even though he was a potential risk to the village. As after some time, a shinobi finally arrives, as it was an Ambu, and decided to, you can say, give Naruto some lessons about the life and all that, the shinobi lessons, if you must say, as Minato still believed that one day Naruto will be able to learn to control his power when he becomes strong enough, and he will be able to find or make a seal to suppress Naruto's power so that once again his son could be the part of community and being a part of the village. After all, those people attacked the children of the Hokage. He could use that card to get Naruto out of here one day, maybe. As time started to pass, so now let us have a bit of time skip. Now let us get to the point of view of Naruto. Naruto at the age of 4 was imprisoned by Minato and the council, deeming him to be a threat to the village, as he did not understand it. Hell, he did not even understand or remember what actually happened. All he remembered was he was getting angrier and angrier by the audacity of those people to attack his siblings. He has lost it there. Afterward, he did not remember anything. But his parents has explained to him that he has an unknown Kekkei and he trusted them. And now it has passed 2 years. 2 years in loneliness. The visits given to him by his siblings and parents started to get less and less by the day, as it was too painful for Kushina and Minato to watch Naruto in the situation. So they decided to give their full attention to Menma and Naruto and try to forget about Naruto as soon as possible, as it has started to put a mental strain on Naruto, as Naruto at the age of 6 was simply looking down towards the dark room which was surrounded by seals over seals trying to suppress him. It always made him feel too weak. But a part of him was always known that if he wants to, he can break all of it. None of these seals were powerful enough to suppress him if he wants to. As he closed his eyes, suddenly his eyes were suddenly snapped open. He was in a strange place. This was not the room in which he was imprisoned. He was wondering if his parents had decided to release him. He was in seemed to be a destroyed place. The mountains were present there. The sky, it was not blue. It was of a different color. But all kind of destruction was there, as if the whole planet was torn apart. He was walking there, wondering where he was, but suddenly he heard a chuckle as he looked back to see that now he was in an open area and a figure was walking towards him from the, you can say, the destroyed mountain, as Naruto was wondering what was going on here and who was that guy. And suddenly the figure finally came to the light. The figure has complete dark green hair, as he had green, you can say, eyes, as he was looking directly into the eyes of Naruto. As Naruto took a step back, wondering what was going on here, as the figure looked exactly like Naruto, the same age and same, you can say, face, but his hair and his aura was completely different, as the figure gave a smirk to Naruto. "So, we have finally met, huh?" As the figure spoke in a, you can say, menacing voice, as Naruto was scared, wondering who he was, as the figure started to laugh. "Do not be scared of me, little one. After all, you and I are the same anyways." As Naruto looked towards him, "Who are you? And why do you look like me?" As the figure smirked, "Let me explain all of this." As the figure started to explain that how he was actually the other half of Naruto. His brain and body was unable to handle all that power he was born with. So it has decided to compromise. All the power in his mind was accumulated into a different personality because of the, you can say, the strain to his mind being too young and being imprisoned at such a young age. So it has decided to separate his power from him and made this form, this new, you can say, alter ego of Naruto. As Naruto was shocked to hear all of it, at how this was his other half, the darker half, if you must say. As the figure started to chuckle, as Naruto said, "So, you're saying that you're me. So, What should I call you? Because Naruto is too, you can say, it is my name. As the figure started to laugh, well, if you must call me something, you can call me Broly. As after it started to laugh, as you can say, Naruto gulp a little. Do not worry, little one. You may be imprisoned, but I will teach you how to control your power, and one day will come when you will destroy them all. As he started to laugh, his energy started to explode even further as Naruto was scared, but a part of him was excited with you can say, the sense of power he was feeling from his other half. As a small smile came to his face, flashback ends. Now, let us get back to the time skip. Now, at the age of 12, Minato was looking down towards the sea as almost over, you can say, 8 years has passed since the imprisonment of Naruto. Minato was looking down towards his masterpiece, his ultimate work, a seal which he has made to suppress and even to control someone. This seal will be placed upon, you can say, the head of Naruto, just like the cage bird seal. And but this one will dissolve into his, you can say, skin and will only be activated by Minato. He unfortunately has to use the cage bird seal idea for of the Hyugas to control Naruto. In this year, Minato has, you can say, even though he was feeling a lot of guilt when Naruto was still young, but over the years he has decided to, you can say, not think of Naruto as his son, but rather for a instrument, a tool for the good of the village. Naruto has the Kekkei. It may be unstable, just like all the Kekkei were in the beginning, but it could be a powerful Kekkei used for the good of the village and for his personal clan as well. And it could be useful for the village in the future. All he had to do is to teach Naruto how to control his power, and with the help of this seal, he should be able to control and restrict Naruto and even suppress his Kekkei if required. As Minato smiled a little at his master work, in this time he has stopped seeing Naruto as his son but rather a village's tool and weapon. As you can say, Jiraiya finally arrived from the window with a serious look on his face as he looked towards Minato. Minato, are you absolutely sure about this? Because I have already told you what the great Elder Toad Sage has spoken. Naruto will bring destruction to the shinobi world. As Minato sighed, Sensei, you have to understand that I am the Hokage, and I understand the danger Naruto poses to the village and to the world. But with this seal, I should be able to control Naruto if required. As Jiraiya looked towards the seal with utter disgust in his eyes. After all, it was a knockoff of the cage but seal. He had never thought that his student will make another seal like that abomination, but he understands the need for it as well. As he sighed, he cannot change the mind of Minato. And Minato said, do not worry, in few generations, this Kekkei should stabilize itself and this will be a great gain for Konoha. I'm doing this as the Hokage, not as the father, Sensei. You should understand that already. As Jiraiya looked towards him while thinking, Minato, you have long stopped considering Naruto as your son. And I believe that he has also stopped considering you to be his father. But he simply shook his head, decided not to, you can say, voice his thoughts as he said, well, Minato, you are the Hokage, though you must be careful with him. As Minato nodded at it. Now, finally, Minato was looking towards Kushina, who also had a you can say, a worried look on her face. After all, for years, she has nightmare about the things that Naruto could have done, the things he could have done to her children. The prophecy Jiraiya has spoken, she has thought about it over and over again. Dreams, nightmares, she had it and was wondering if Naruto will be the one to kill Menma and Naruto. What would have happened if Naruto had attacked Menma and Naruto that night if Minato did not arrive on time? The thoughts and nightmares has turned Kushina into a bitter woman towards Naruto and stopped considering him to be her son. And now she only cares about Menma and Naruto as she looked towards Minato. Minato, are you absolutely sure about it? You already know what Jiraiya sensei has said as Minato sighed. Well, Kushina, do not worry. With this seal, I should be able to control Naruto. At this, Kushina looked towards the seal. After all, it was a masterwork. She has to admit to that. Not even the Uzumakis would be able to make such a powerful seal. And being able to suppress even a Biju, a fully rampaging Biju like the QB. So they should be able to control Naruto if necessary, as she sighed but nodded nonetheless. After all, the decision was already made as Minato nodded and finally decided to go downstairs to the basement where Naruto was still present. And now Naruto, who was not looking like a 12-year-old kid but rather around the age of 15 to 16, was bound by the chains, even though as Naruto looked towards the chains, as with a mere flick of his hand he should be able to break them, but he was training in his mind to control his power. He could already tell the things he has learned, the powers he can command now was truly terrifying. He was already making his plan to be out of this room. After all, his training in his mind was already done. It was time to put it into practice. And just like that, the door opened as Naruto looked forward. After all, it has been around 3 years since he has last seen his so-called father. As he looked forward to see Minato, who was now looking towards Naruto, as Naruto could easily tell with that gaze of his that Minato has stopped seeing him to be his son, but rather a mere tool, as he scoffed in his mind as if he would ever be controlled by anyone. But maybe he would have a bit of fun with these people before he decided to do his own thing. As Minato looked towards Naruto with a smile as he said, "Well, Naruto, if you remember, all those years ago, I made you a promise that one day you will be out of here. Do not worry, my son. I have fulfilled that promise." As Minato came close to Naruto and brought up the seal and decided to put it on Naruto's forehead. As Naruto raised an eyebrow at that, he could feel something entering into his energy stream, trying to suppress it, trying to weave around it, to, you can say, like veins of trees trying to wrap around something, wrap around his energy stream, as Naruto simply scoffed inwardly as he could feel that this seal was trying to suppress his energy and try to, you can say, enter into his mind to, you can say, control it. As Naruto simply chuckled in his mind, his alter ego also laughed inside of his mind as Minato looked towards the seal which had successfully implanted. As Minato made a hand signal as Naruto's eyes were gone completely white as he stopped at that. As Minato smiled at it, it seemed that his seal was working perfectly. As Naruto simply scoffed, he could break this so-called control over him like it was nothing. It was trying to suppress and immobilize him. But Naruto could simply, you can say, shake it off. As Minato said, "Alright, son, it is time for you to be out of here." As Minato made another hand sign, and just like that, the chains simply shattered and the seals were removed. As Naruto, after almost 8 years, was finally able to stand up on his own. As he looked towards his hand and looked towards Minato, it seemed that I would need a shower first. As Minato chuckled, "Of course, son," and decided to show him where it was. As Naruto was finally out of that basement, as Kushina was now wondering what would happen now. After all, Naruto was a danger to her, to the village, and especially to her children, just like Jiraiya had told her all those years ago and reminded her over and over again, even though she had tried to deny it. But the amount of destruction Naruto caused after losing control terrified her. What could have happened to her children as she shivered at it? As Minato finally came out of the basement and walking behind him was a single figure as her heart skipped a beat after looking towards her son for almost after 6 years. After all, she had stopped visiting him when he was around the age of 6. As she looked towards him, as Naruto looked back towards her with an emotionless gaze in his eyes, he was looking around. As Minato said, "Well, Naruto, you may take some rest in your room. Tomorrow we will have a council meeting afterward. You will join the Shinobi Academy in some time. They are gonna have the final examination. Do not worry, I will train you personally so that you can pass the exams. They are really easy, so you need not worry about it." As Naruto looked towards him and nodded nonetheless. As Minato smiled at it, after all, the seal was working, suppressing his anger and tried to make him more, you can say, obedient to Minato. As Minato smiled at it as he looked towards Kushina, "Do not worry, Kushina. Why don't you give Naruto some special ramen? After all, it has been some time, right, son?" At this, Naruto nodded and decided to take his seat as Minato smiled as he looked towards Kushina, giving her a wink, telling her that how he was under his control now. As Kushina nodded nonetheless and decided to give him some ramen, while on inside Naruto was simply laughing to think that his so-called father actually believed that he could control him. Ha! Well, he's gonna have a bit of fun, and afterward, he will put each and every person here in his place. After all these people were mere insects, weaklings, nothing compared to him. Just like his alter ego has told him, and just like he has trained for years in his mind trying to control his power, and he believes that he can control all of his power and he can kill each and every one of them if he so desire, as a devilish smirk came to his face, but it vanished as it came as quickly. And now let us have a time skip as Menma and Naruto were sitting in their, you can say, academy. After all, the final examinations are coming as soon as possible. Tomorrow was their final exam, and afterward, they are gonna become fully fledged shinobis. It has been years since they have even thought of their older brother. After all, that scene terrified them. Their older brother killing so many people, destroying so many area. They considered him to be a monster, just like the villagers has told them that how he has the soul of the QB inside of him and how he was a monster and all that. So they considered him to be the one responsible for everything. So yeah, they hated him and were being scared of him at the same time. And finally, Aruka was giving a speech that how they should prepare some these and these jutsus and these things. But suddenly, a door was suddenly snapped open. And a figure started to walk inside. Many of the girls blushed a little after looking towards the figure, as it was a tall man, or rather a boy. As Naruto has finally walked inside of the room, even Menma and Naruto were confused who this guy actually was. As you can say, Naruto's eyes met with Menma and Ruko for a second as he looked towards his so-called sensei and gave him a small slip. At this, you can say, Ruka decided to take it, wondering what it was as he read it, but suddenly, when his eyes met the name that was written on the letter, his blood was suddenly went cold. After all, he was there when that amount of destruction was caused by a single 4-year-old child. The amount of area was destroyed. It was like a Biju Dharma has gone off there, and it was really, really large amount of destruction. So he looked towards Naruto in utter shock. After all, there were rumors going on all around Konoha. Many believed that Naruto was the reincarnation of the Kyuubi. Many believed that he has the soul of the Kyuubi inside of him, and many believed him to be a monster in every aspect. So he was thinking that if Naruto was not killed years ago, then who this guy was. But it was a letter from the Hokage, so there was no way that it was a lie. As Iruka was scared now as he looked towards him. Your name, please, as he said, stuttering. As Naruto looked towards him, my name is Naruto. At this, Iruka and everyone who was there were thinking who this guy was, but Menma and Naruko's eyes widened, suddenly realizing that who this guy was, as Naruko could not believe it. After all, it has been 8 years since she has seen her brother, while Menma's hands were trembling, remembering the scenes of destruction caused by their brother, as they could not believe it and understand it. Why did their father let him out here after such a long time? And what was the need for it to begin with? As Naruto looked towards all of them, as Ruka stuttered a little, well, you should take your seat. Today we are just gonna have a small practice. As Naruto nodded and decided to take his seat, while the girls were blushing as Menma was remembering that day, and Naruko was also, you can say, stealing glances at Naruto, as Naruto was simply sitting in his seat with a blank look on his face, while on the other hand, Sasuke was wondering who this guy was. After all, his crush Naruko was looking towards him over and over again, so he was getting a bit jealous. So finally, you can say, the class ends as Sasuke Uchiha stood up, ready to put this guy in his place. After all, he did not knew who he was, but he did not care, as he said, "Hey, you, Dobi." As Naruto decided to ignore him, as Sasuke greeted his day, "Hey, I'm talking to you, you loser." At this, you can say Sasuke fan club started to speak up. and saying that how this guy should not ignore Sasuke and how he was an elite and all that. As Naruto looked towards him, as Sasuke smirked, I challenge you to a fight. After all, you're just a weakling, and I do not believe that. You have the right to be here, to be a part of our class. After all, you have not taken any classes to begin with, as Naruto was now looking towards him and was thinking, As Naruto spoke up, get lost, weakling. At this, Sasuke's eyes suddenly turned red with one Tomo Sharingan in both of the eyes, anger clearly in his eyes as he said, "What did you say to me, you damn bastard?" As he tried to grab Naruto, but Naruto's hand suddenly moved like a blur and appeared in front of the forehead of Sasuke, whose eyes widened suddenly. His whole body freezed as an aura was spread across the whole room. Each and every person that was there was freeze at its spot as Menma and Ruko quickly had the, you can say, flashback of that day. This was the same aura, same pressure. As Naruto looked towards Sasuke with his eyes glowing green for a second, I sat, get lost. And just like that, Sasuke's, you can say, legs gave out as he was on the ground, sweating hard, wondering what was going on here. He was an Uchiha. If his father saw him like this, he would be ashamed of him and would tell him that how he is never gonna be comparable to Itachi. As he gritted his teeth as Naruto looked towards him and flicked him on his forehead, and just like that, Sasuke was launched on the other side of the room, slammed into the wall, which cracked all over the place as Sasuke was knocked out with a single finger on his forehead. As Naruto sipped his scarf and stood up and started to walk away, while Menma and Ruko wanted to say something, but they were too scared of their older brother. While on the other hand, Minato was looking towards the council. Well, there were several people asking him questions that why did he release Naruto from his imprisonment and if his Kekigenkai was now under control. As Minato said, silence. As all the people were silent as Minato looked towards each and every person there. As Shikaku Nara spoke up, troublesome. Lord Hokage, do tell us if it was really necessary to release that troublesome child from his imprisonment, as unjustified it was. But still, he's a danger to the village. As Minato spoke up, as I told you guys before, Naruto would be imprisoned for his punishment for killing those people, but he's also a valuable asset to the village. As you can say, Inuichi spoke up. Can you elaborate that, Lord Hokage? As Minato nodded, Naruto has a unknown Kekkei, just like I told you guys all those years ago. He has amazing power, amazing physical strength, and several tests were done on his body. When he is using his Kekkei, he is almost, you can say, indestructible. And just like all Kekkei in the beginning, his Kekkei is unstable, but I believe that with enough training, he should be able to control his power. And on top of that, with as he will have more children, more and more children, his Kekkei will get stable in the next generation, if not in the next, then a generation afterward. But we will have a valuable clan on our hand, and as the leader of Konoha, I cannot let this opportunity slip by. So therefore, I have allowed for him to come out. As Shibi spoke up, well, Lord Hokage, that is all well and good, and I understand your point, but still, what if he attacks someone he cannot control his powers? As Minato smiled at it. Do not worry about it. I have made a masterpiece. For that, I have used all of my knowledge and the scrolls we have gotten from the Uzumaki clan as well to make a perfect seal to suppress Naruto if there is ever, you can say, a danger from him, as well as being able to control him. I have used that seal on him and I am the only one who can use it. Do not worry, if he ever were to go on a mission, I will temporarily give the control to his Jonin sensei as well to suppress him if the opportunity were to present itself and if there is ever a need. But I do not believe that it will come to it. After all, I'm gonna start training him soon enough so that he can control his powers. And if he become too dangerous, I will use my seal to suppress him. As there were several murmurs, while on the other hand, Danzo narrowed his eyes. He needs to get his hand on that shield as soon as possible. After all, such a powerful weapon should be used by him, not by that Hokage. Even though being able to put such a seal on his own son to control him, that was something he could, you can say, admire for a few seconds, of course. But he simply shook his head. He needs to get his hand on the control of that seal. Unknown to all of them, they were, you can say, messing with forces that were beyond of this world, if not the whole dimension and the universe itself. But soon enough, they will understand it. While on the other hand, Fugaku was making plans. This guy was a threat to the Uchiha clan if there is such a Gegenkai. After all, he was there when all that destruction was caused by a single child, and there were rumors that it was not Minato who had defeated the Kyuubi, but rather it was Naruto who had done it on the day of his birth. If he is really that powerful, then he cannot allow that child to grow up to be a danger to the Uchiha clan. After all, the Uchihas were the superior breed. After the death of the Senju clan, they were the strongest. No matter what the Hyuga clan like to say on the matter, they were the best, and he will not have any child or any new Kekkei come to light to suppress the Uchihas once again. After all, after such a long time, Itachi has gained fame for them, and he's not the one who's gonna lose it after some brat. As he smirked inwardly, soon enough he will get rid of him. While on the other hand, the other clans were making plans of their own. Fugaku was thinking, well, I had initially thought of marrying off that failure to Menma, but it seemed that this provides us with a new opportunity. If a new clan is to be made by that monster, then we, the Hyuga clan, should use this opportunity before that Uchiha clan decide to put their nose where it doesn't belong. I will have to marry off that failure to that monster. But it will make a perfect couple anyways, as a smirk on that inwardly. While Minato had his own plans and Jiraiya was already making countermeasures to, you can say, defeat and suppress Naruto to make his own seal to end him off if he ever become a danger to the shinobi world. Even though Minato is not seeing it, he will have to make his own plans. But hey guys, here I will left this part for the next part. If you guys have new ideas, tell me in the comment section and all that. I will put your idea in the story as well. So yeah guys, hope to see you soon and yeah, peace.